Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well, today, a few things really. We're going to have a look at this rather interesting Henschel Hs.129 ground attack aircraft North Africa scheme from Hobby 2000. Very kind loan to the channel by Stewart, a good friend of the channel. Very good value proposition this kit is, so it's definitely worth a look. And I want to have a look at it mainly because, to be honest, I've had it now for 6 months. And we were waiting for the new version, which is coming from ICM. We're going to do a bit of a back-to-back. But I thought that might, now, on reflection, it has been delayed a bit. And also I've been thinking, well, it's going to take quite a long time to do a back-to-back. So what I might do is do a short back-to-back within the ICM review, just for interest. So I thought in the meantime it'd be nice to do a proper, full, in-depth review on its own first. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, have you seen anything unusual or new about me? No, I don't mean the red face, that's too much sun at the weekend. It's still very hot here. Even just when I'm out there for half an hour or so I get very red, and I'm not good in the sun. I'm quite Scandinavian. No, I mean my new glasses. They have arrived. Ever so slightly larger than the others. And I've got to report to you, I know some of you, somebody was telling me off for product whoring, I think he said, or promoting Zeiss. I don't get anything from Zeiss, I can assure you, but I do believe in their product. Very impressed with it, just like I am with some model kit manufacturers, ICM, Tamiya, etc., Zukimura. And I'm not getting any cash from them either, but they really are very, very good. And I talked about the problems I was having when I've been doing model reviews. So the issue has been, when I look on the other glasses that I've been wearing, not so much the Hugo Boss ones, they were just out of date, so they were generally not great for my eyes. But the more modern ones that I had, that were just a very thin frame and a very thin arm at the side, very comfortable and everything, but just not quite zoned correctly in the way they've been set up. And I'm asking the glasses to do quite a lot of things, so I want to be able to see in the far distance, I want to be able to use them for driving, I'll be able to use them for reading and use them for model reviewing. And that's asking quite a lot, and it's particularly problematic if the lens isn't that huge. You normally have to go for a bigger lens. Yes, small lenses can be done it. It can be done on most lenses really, but the zone of where you get sharpness gets smaller and smaller and smaller because you're asking so much to be done in such a small space that the differential, if you like, from each zone as you look around, it changes very rapidly as you move your eye even, a quarter of a degree, half a degree. And that was the problem I was having. I was looking slightly off centre and the focus just dropped off a cliff. And they weren't so good for up close anyway. So with these I've now got literally all the things I mentioned earlier. So I've got fantastic long vision, I've got great close vision, up here. I've got good vision right up to 3 inches probably, 3 to 4 inches. I didn't have that before. So these are really good, they're really good, and they've got, I don't know if you can tell, they've got posted about big glasses now, but they've got these sort of McLaren orange flashes on there. It's like a carbon fibre, oops, I'm actually not in the right place for showing this, but there's this orange flash and they've got carbon fibre arms and a carbon look main frame, and they are really, really good. The only thing that they're not quite right is the, just a minor setup thing really. I just need to go back to the opticians and set up the nose grips are not quite in enough, and there's a slight looseness, okay, on this side toward the camera, but on the side away from the camera, slightly loose. So we haven't quite got the arm isn't quite shaped correctly. It just needs a little bit more work, and they have to heat them up to actually shape them and bend them, basically. Not a job for the amateur. Anyway, I'll wait till my top optician comes back from his holidays. But I can't overstate to you, many of you wear glasses, I know, of a certain age. Having the wrong glasses is very detrimental in your life generally. It made me feel like I was drunk all the time, more than usual. But did it make you feel, I'd look off centre and I'd feel like, everything's gone blurry. And with these I can look everywhere and everything's absolutely pin sharp. And it really summed it up for me. I was sitting right opposite the opticians when I put them on for the first time and went out with them on. Went to the little coffee shop, which is in a part of a bookshop in Nantwich in Cheshire. And I looked up the street and I could see about 100 yards distance before the street goes round the corner. And I could see this pub at the far end of the street, 100 yards away. and I could see men that were workmen on the tower on the top of this building, like they had some scaffolding up, and I could literally look without moving my head even at 1 degree, and I could look and I could see absolutely everything from the far distance all the way up the street, including the bollards, and then there's like waste paper bin and blah blah blah, and all the bricks, and I could look all the way right up to the table I was sitting at on the street with a cup of coffee, pin sharp, absolutely everything from from right up to my face to 100 yards away, and that's exactly what I wanted. So I would say to you, don't cut corners on your glasses. Don't go to Specsavers. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to slag them off or anything, but I don't think the quality of the expertise there would be anything close to what I've just experienced. And I know this because, of course, the previous glasses I did sort of cut corners. They weren't cheap. They were £1,200, and I wasn't prepared to pay that. So I went and cut corners on them and got that for £750. Still a huge sum of money. If you do go to Specsavers, you think I'm mad, of course. But I've paid about the same this time, and I've got absolutely fantastic service, and the image quality, and there's just a feeling, it feels as though I'm seeing the world in HD, 4K HD, and I wasn't having that before. Anyway, we'll see when we get into the to see if I still miss anything. I've got less excuse now than before, but anyway, so just a little talk about glasses. But don't cut corners and don't skimp is my advice, because I have done that, and there is no substitute for a really highly qualified optician zoning and setting up the actual way that those lenses, it's the lenses that are all important, not the frames. But I went for these frames because they gave me a bigger lens, and that gave us more latitude for what I needed, and it's worked perfectly. I just get this slight issue with the frame sorted, which will be easily done. Absolutely perfection then. So I just want to say, there you go. Don't cut corners. Buy cheap, buy twice. It's a classic example of it, and I'm never going to do that again. I'm never going to. You had to go on the internet and you had to measure your own eye pupil distance, and you had to take photographs of a load of rubbish. You'll never get a proper, accurate prescription lens by doing that. Maybe if you haven't got much correction needed, I don't know, but I think it's very unwise. And my own, learn from my mistake. Don't do it. I'll never do that again. Anyway, there we are. We'll move on. Now, other thing I want to talk about today is a bit of an update. Several of you keep saying, "Oh, well, if you got your new glasses," somebody said, "Got your new glasses? They look fantastic." One of you said, "Stop the auditions. We've found the next James Bond." Well, I think that's pushing it a bit. I don't think he ever wore glasses, did he? And somebody else said, "Well, now you've got no excuse not to build that. You'll be able to find that great big mosquito box and get on with your mosquito." It's coming. It's very hot at the moment now. I mean, I nearly didn't wear my jacket today because it's actually got a bit cooler than when I first sat down here. Put the jacket back on. It's been very warm. It's not been modelling weather. But I did find when I was once I got my new glasses, this wonderful book currently on sale at WH Smith's, Mosquito, the Wooden Wonder. So I thought you might like to have a quick look at this, and then we'll get into the proper review on the Henschel. Let's have a little nosy, because I'm sure some of you will find this quite nice to look at. So it's Air Power from Hachette Partworks. Can't say I've ever heard of them before. You want the ISBN number? It's only $10.99. I thought, although it's pricey for what's basically an overblown magazine, there is a lot in here. So there is your ISBN number if you want to go and get yourself one of these. And it's got some absolutely brilliant photographs, which is really what I think attracted me to it. Because you can't have too many references, can you? So let's have a little look. I'll just give you a little flavour of it. I won't go into too much detail. Just flip through it. It's the sort of book that modellers absolutely adore, isn't it? There we go. Look at that. That's absolutely stellar. Whoops. Wooden Wonder. There we go. E.g. F Freddy. Isn't that the one? Is it T? I can't remember now. The one that I'm doing. It's F for Freddy. So that is actually. Did it say? F Freddy, which was Picard's. Talking about 633 squadron here, sorry. But that was Picard's aircraft, the one that's on them in the Tamiya kit, F for Freddy, FEG. So that is the squadron leader Charles Pickard, and Alan Broadley's aircraft, which sadly, of course, was brought down by an Fw-190 on the Amiens prison raid. And then we've got, I'll come back a bit to this because I think it's a bit too soon. And then we've got some really nice stuff here. You've got all the post-invasion markings, you know, the prototype, how they developed it at de Havilland, you know, with all the woodworking guys. And then they had to basically get all the carpenters that they could find in the UK to develop this aircraft and actually go into mass production with it. And you can see here quite a good photograph actually of the fuselages being created in two halves, like an airfix kit. And they described it as almost an overblown model kit. They say it goes together like an oversized model kit. Hard to imagine, made from wood and glue. And it's incredible that an aircraft like this could become one of the greatest warplanes of the Second World War. You can't beat the Mosquito. There you go, there's one of the halves of the fuselage. Again, looks like a model kit, doesn't it? And then the PR, the Photo Reconnaissance Mosquito. And there's going to just be so many nice ones to look at. Here's a nice PR version. I like it. I like the PR. I think it suits the Mosquito. It makes it look even meaner, I think, with a slightly darker colour. Taking photographs of the guys now in dock. And they were doing PR reconnaissance work, trying to track the German Navy. Aircraft carrier Graf Zeppelin. Graf Zeppelin, I didn't know about the German aircraft. I'm a bit ignorant when it comes to naval matters, as you probably know. But look at that, bottom right of that photograph, they've got the Graf Zeppelin aircraft carrier. What happened to that? Did that get sunk? Oh, this is on a postcard. Let's have someone like Jason, shouldn't I? He'll know. That's more his subject than mine. There we go. Another September 43 PR. And then you got PR with, interestingly, with camo and almost like prototype colours. Why is that in prototype colours? So first sent to Farnborough after conversion. And the pressure test in the cabin. Okay, so that's why it's got, because it was at Farnborough, that's why it's got the prototype colours. And then you've got various shots from the things like the 400 Squadron, who of course were involved in the Amiens prison raid. Is that the Suez Canal? Yeah, the Suez Canal, look at that. Two Mosquitoes flying over a ship, escorting it. Got some weird and wonderful tugs. Well, maybe tugs, is that? Anyway, there's a lot of data in here. I could basically flick through this all day. There's so much nice stuff in it. If you love the Mosquito, this is a must-have. And I took one look at it and just grabbed it off the shelf immediately. And I'm not an impulse buyer, to be honest. And I always take a bit of convincing with these sort of magazines that you have in Smiths and places like that. I'm often not very convinced by them, but this, I think, there's just so many good references. I think for the money, for just over £10, nearly £11, I think there's nothing to beat it really. Horsham in September 42. Look at that all lined up. Looks like a scene from Mosquito Squadron, doesn't it? Or 633 Squadron. And on it goes. You know, it's just actually quite a tricky one because it's a soft back. It's actually quite hard to show you properly. Pity it wasn't a hard back, but that would put the price up, of course. And you've got the night fighter versions, various night fighters. You've got the highball. This is quite an important aircraft, isn't it? This is important. The bouncing bomb, Barnes-Wallis's highball. See the two highballs there? And doing testing here. They did testing down near Weymouth, I think, didn't they? On the banks near Weymouth. Single engine capability being demonstrated with #1 engine shut off. Look at that. Cool. Huh. It's a brilliant book, this, it really is. It's just a bit floppy, that's the slight issue. It's slightly tricky to show it to you. Not quite as I say, it's like a glorified magazine really. But the content is brilliant, got to say. Loading up the bombs there, one of the bomber versions. Canadian built bombers, yes, they had a factory in Canada, didn't they? Where was it at? Yes. Downsview, Ontario is where they had the factory in Canada. Yeah, they produced, how many did they produce? First 25 Mark 7s were all from Canada. Yeah, I need to read that in more detail. And then one here based at RAF Marham. And this is the Mark 4 bomber. A tropical mosquito. Here we go. Yep. So of course it's got these Southeast Asian RAF colours, which I always used to confuse with Australian colours. See why though. Of course the reason was in the bright sun of the Pacific. When they started with the traditional roundels, but in the distance it looked like a Japanese. The red was sort of looked like a Japanese meatball on a zero or something. So they started having a few problems shooting each other down. So it's quickly understood that the red had to be dropped. So you get quite a few variations in terms of the schemes and the camo. American operations, here we go, the USAAF. They use quite a few of these, especially for bombing and also for the pathfinding and for reconnaissance. So the Americans there having a game of pool, I guess it is, or is it snooker? Is it snooker? Oh, it's James Doolittle, in fact, okay. And he's trying his hand at pool, it says. Well, I'm not sure if it would be pool, but I guess they brought some pool tables with them. If it was an English pub, it would be snooker, or billiards, as we used to call it. Well, billiards is a different game, actually. There we go. Anyway, there you are. There's got, I like the one with the red tail. That was very cool, doesn't it? And here they are. They're taking photographs of the Essen shipyards at Essen. You see at the bottom left of that picture some ships. And then we've got one here that's got some flak damage. Yeah. And one there with a Liberator behind it in the photograph. Where's that at? Looks like it might be Honington? AB. Doesn't say. Because they operated from Honington, I think. I think one or two American Mosquitoes there along with the Mustangs, and I think they had Thunderbolts there as well. Honington I mentioned because I used to live near there. I used to go to school at Honington Primary School when I was a kid. Anyway, I'll sort of flick through because there's just a lot of photos, of course. But the American ones, yeah, they come with some lovely schemes. Look at that. They're appealing to the US market for sure. And here we go, we've got some of the night operations, night fighters and night bombers. Yeah, I think this book is definitely worth it's definitely worth £11, let's put it that way. I think it's, although I say it's a bit floppy and I found it a little bit difficult to use to show you on the camera, it's definitely got the merit to make you want to go out and buy it. There's such great references here. So many different versions, every variant is shown. What's that? Mark 30, the radome nose. Intruders. Oh yes, this is the one I like. The Tetsi Mosquito that's got the great big 6-pounder gun. 57mm cannon on it. HT. Yes, EHT of course was the Mosquito that sadly crashed at the air show in 1996 at Barton Airfield at Manchester. I think it had a bit of engine trouble, possibly carburettor trouble. Did a roll and yeah, never quite did a roll a little bit too low, I think. A bit risky the manoeuvre. Very sad there. Both the crew killed, of course. And they were experienced with the aircraft as well. They'd used it many times in the past, so it was very sad. There's footage of that. It's rather heartbreaking. It sort of doesn't quite come out of this roll and starts to stall. Yeah, terrible. Can't afford to lose aircraft like the Mosquito in accidents like that. That's for sure. Prior to the fatal crash in 1996 of Hs.129, see, yeah, there it is. HTF in the middle there. And of course it's still about the one that's been restored in New Zealand. And then there's a shot from the Amiens prison raid itself at the top left there. You see the prison there. Intruders. There we go. Operation Carthage. This is the shell house in Copenhagen, which the mosquitoes raided to save the Danish resistance. There's a very good book called Mosquito, all about that. And then here you've got them attacking the Amiens prison with an artist's impression. What else did they do? Our house, where they attacked also in Denmark, where they attacked the college, I think it was, that had been used by the Nazis. Our house University, yeah. Became the headquarters of the Gestapo, and it's their records centre for the whole of Denmark. So they bombed the hell out of it and destroyed pretty much 90% of all the records. So that was a good, very successful mission. RAF Hon's done, and you've got pictures of them with the rockets on, and here we go. The strike wings, here we go, the Banff strike wing now. Oh. Now these guys didn't mess around, they went and attacked all the Nazi shipping in Norway. And there's a photo of it happening in progress. Really, really brutal, you know. Oops, you have to forgive the noise, folks. We've got neighbours having some work done. They're producing some fencing or something. Anyway, you can see the rocket firing Mosquito there, firing its rockets down towards the sea. And here we've got them using their cannons, look, absolutely cannon and rocket fire, completely shooting up all of these this naval shipping and off the Norwegian coast there, absolutely hammering the German navy and the German supply line routes, if you like, supply routes. And here we've got more photographs of them shooting up, again using both cannons and using the rockets. I mean, the rockets were a little bit crude because they were unguided, but as long as you got close enough, which is what these guys were doing, absolutely obliterates the target, you know. And there's some very, very impressive photography. If you go on YouTube, you can see. And then at the end, there's like a data manual with all the information about frill air brake. There we go. I'm not sure about that one. I've seen it before though, tested in 1942. It was dropped when it found that simply lowering the undercarriage produced a better effect. Okay. Yeah, it just hasn't got enough air braking, has it? But they're quite tricky to land, the Mosquito. I think it's a very powerful aircraft, a lot of torque in those engines. Oh, look at this. So that's a winch mechanism. It's a windmill that's a bit like a ram air turbine, but it's actually a windmill that drives the winch, powers the winch for dragging drogue targets behind it. A bit like you get on the Airfix version do that, don't they? Another speed brake version here. That's very interesting. And then the naval Mosquito carrying a torpedo, really? Gosh, look at that. 14 were built at Broughton in Chester. How about that? Jeez, didn't know this. Didn't know that. Landing on aircraft carriers, rather than me. Not sure it's the best for that. Anyway, there we go. And then you've got some various variants used elsewhere after the war. And they also did the Bf-109, also now available in the shops, which I very nearly bought, but I thought I'd just concentrate on this one for now. Anyway, there you go. I've just run through that fairly quickly. If you are a Mosquito enthusiast and are building one, like me, honest, you'll want that book. That's an excellent book. So that's the Mosquito, the Wooden Wonder, Air Power Series, and they say they do a Bf-109 version as well. Now then, let's have a look at this. So, our good friend Stewart has loaned us this, and it's a very interesting aircraft and a very, very good value for money kit. You can pick this kit up for well under £30, well under. 48 scale, it's quite a lot of kit in here for the money, I've got to be honest. And it's a Hasegawa Reeboks. Hobby 2000 do a lot of this, and they are often very, excellent kits in fairness. So let's have a look at what we got here. So it's kit number 48012, and we have got, obviously it has this big cannon underneath. It's the B-2 version, and this is at Al Aouna in Tunisia, May 1943. It's not the place the SAS raided, is it? I've got a feeling it might be. And then you've got this one with the red T, and this is at Al Aouna as well. That's May 43 as well. You've got on the other side, it just gives a very basic description. Hobby 2000. This came out actually 4 years ago now, so it's not a new kit. But as I say, we thought this was worthy of your consideration because ICM have got a new version coming out soon, which will be brilliant, I'm sure. I have asked them what the update is on that, and the Hamden, and the Sikorsky Sky Crane, the CH-54 Tie, in the smaller scale. I think we have to give them a little bit of, need some patience and let them do their thing in their own time. But I have asked the question, so if I get any update on that, I can tell you, because they may not want me to share it. I will let you know. In the meantime, let's have a look at this one. So, typical Hasegawa bag, which has this sort of a zipped up the centre back. It doesn't look that big actually, does it? Not as big as I was expecting anyway. Then we have got, looks like there's going to be a mask set. That's good. We like mask sets. So this shouldn't take too long in fairness. Let's have a look at what we've got there. And they give you a nice generous bag. Maybe a bit too generous, not quite to the Airfix crazy standards, but probably a little bit bigger than is needed. Excuse me 1 second, I'm just going to get my ruler, make sure that I do a good cut on this because we need to reseal it for Stewart. There we go. Nice cut there. All done. So it's a single bag, preferring it didn't settle on, but anyway. Oh, we've got one wing off the sprue, let's see. Let's have a look and see what we have. So, we've got a mask set, we've got decals that have been done in a sensible way. Let me zoom you in and you can see it all properly. So, a mask set with clear instruction. I'll show the instruction first. Instructions of how to use your masks, which is brilliant. Why can't all manufacturers do this? Airfix, ICM and Revell, please take note in particular. We'd like to see masks included, and this is the set itself in black. Very helpful to the modeller. All the wheels are covered and the glass areas as well. So that's the first thing. I'll pop that back in the bag if you just bear with me 1 second. I'll just show you a little bit of a wing that's just appeared off the sprue. And then we've got our decals. And they're cartograph. Oh, these are lovely. And again, very intelligently done. You can clearly see that they've thought about it. We've got our symbol, controversial symbol, but done in a way that does not offend anybody. Completely common sense being done here. Very, very nice decals. I mean, cartograph are just excellent, aren't they? Fantastic. And we've got some instruments there as well. So, nothing not to like there either. That's an excellent start. We're off and running. So, we get this slightly odd shape, I think. Slightly odd shaped. It's like it's not A5, is it? It's I'm not sure what size that is. Is it quarto? Quarto sheet, I think. We don't get is any history at all. We get our colour call-outs on the outside, like so. I'll zoom back a bit more. See what I mean? Like so. But they're very clear and they're in colour and nicely printed. It would be nice to have a little bit of a history now. This is the Hobby 2000 are making the same mistake as a lot of the others are doing when they're not giving us any data about the aircraft or what it did, what it's special, what's unique about it, what's interesting about it, or anything else. Zip. We get nothing, sadly. However, this is a kit built to a price, and I suppose we have to bear that in mind. So, now we're into the Hasegawa kit here, and classic type of instructions from there. They always lay it out very simply. They also tell you what colours to paint it, which is also what we want, So you've got the colour references there of your seat and your cockpit area. This is a single seat aircraft. I'm not an expert on this aircraft. I didn't appreciate it was only a single seater, if I'm honest. I thought it was a twin. Well. Now I've learned something. Anyway, you've got the decals going in there. Very traditional stuff where you're dropping in your cockpit area into your two halves of your fuselage. Then you've got your main wing engine nacelles going on, putting those onto the wings on the underside, complete with intakes. And it says things like "be careful." I mean, the clarity is good here. The clarity is very good. It's all in English, which is great. Main wing installation there, that goes on underneath obviously, and then you've got your main cannon blister underneath as well, underneath the nose. Your tail planes are going on there. Your main gear assembly legs assembly I should say, coming in here with your wheels and tyres, and obviously you use your masks to spray those up. Good clarity though, good clarity about, you know, telling you how it should look. Left main gear outside and the right main gear outside. Excellent. Then we've got the ailerons, and I've got our gear bay doors going on here, and the rear tail wheel, which I think is retractable. Is it? No, it's not retractable on these. Okay. And then you've got your MK101 30mm cannon, a real monster, which because they also put these on the ME163 Comet, I think, didn't they? I think I'm right in saying that. I think we had 2 of those on the Comet. And then you've also got the option of bombs going on there. There's also a ladder, I didn't notice that, little ladder, foot ladder for climbing in. You've got your bombs going together here with the pylon. And finally we get to the engines, dropping those in, and exhaust pipes going on there, a couple of windows that go on the top. You've got your spinner and your propellers, 2 different variants. Oh no, sorry, it's the same variant. Just shows left and right, but kind of necessary. And then finally you've got your gun sight going in here at the front, and then you've got your glassworks, canopy and your props going on, and that is it done. It's quite straightforward, to be honest. So yeah, it's not going to, I don't think it's going to be all that challenging in terms of the construction. Generally Hasegawa's kits go together really, really well, you know. They're a little bit Tamiya-like, but perhaps a little bit simplified. In a good way though. But they're often enjoyable to build, usually. So, put that there, and let's have a look at what we've got here. So we've got plenty of space, so we will open this. I'll just get my knife back. My ruler. And we have got here some clear parts that look really nice, to be fair, really nice. Yes, I like the design of it. It's, as I say, it's an aircraft I'm not super familiar with, the 129, but that's probably going to change. So here you've got your glass windscreen, which is like it's almost like a car windscreen, isn't it? Like a racing car windscreen. It's got this convex nature to it, which is quite nice. And then you've got your side glass here. Can't really fault it, to be honest. Oh, there's actually a little, is that a deliberate mark? Or is that, I think it is a deliberate mark. I think it's where they, I think it's the handle for, whoops, there's a little mark there. I think it's the handle for where they slide open. There's a window, I think, that slides. Or is it like a catch? It's on both sides, so it must be deliberate, yeah, it's okay. No problem. Very nice, clear parts, I think those are. Can't fault that at all. Super. Right, so the main plastic. Well, we've got wing off, so let's look at that first. They do have this unbelievably floppy sprues sometimes, Hasegawa, and you can see it here. It's tucked in. It's almost like an insect caught in a spider's web, isn't it? It's amazing. And they do have a very glossy type of plastic, but the detail is very fine. It's nice. It's got some really nice panel lining on it. Little access hatches, etc. And then this wing that's off, by the way, is of course is one of the top wings that's missing. So look at that a little bit closer. So it's the port wing, and yeah, again, little access hatches, all fine detailing. I know these always paint up well. Don't worry about this mark. This is just within the actual plastic itself. So there's nothing wrong with that. And then we have a twin sprue, which is the same, so I'll show you this one. Oh, actually that's detached, that might make it easier for us. Yeah, again, it's this problem that Airfix have of having too many sprues in an oversized bag, and it can all detach and fall off, can't it? Which is what's happened. Anyway, this is your engine nacelles. Those are very nice, good detail. And then here, and this is the one that we've got two of. I find that strange, actually. That means that the ailerons, the elevators, must be identical top and bottom for it to be a dual sprue. Curious. Is that true? I don't know. There's some nice detail. Not faulty, really. It just looks, you can tell it's a Hasegawa. It's just got that typical pale plastic and that sort of slightly soft moulding, but not soft in a bad way. You know, on that fin of the bomb there, it's perfectly sharp. Absolutely fine. So then we have the underside. This is where the cannon is. There's two versions of the cannon here. So I think there are two options, aren't there? One's the 30mm, what do they call it? The B-2. Is there two versions? Well, there's only two versions that seem to have the same specification, so I've got a feeling that there's what's it say here? It says Hs.129, Hs.129. But you've got two different sprues there, so just stick to the instructions to make sure you get the right one, because there's obviously different variants Hasegawa must have produced. Then you've got these very nice looking propeller blades here, which do look really good, to be honest. You've got your main gear legs. And then here you've got your back of your seat and some nice detail. I like the shaping of the seat, that's quite cool. That's actually the armour plate, isn't it, this? That's the armour plate behind the seat. Here's the seat itself there. That's nice. I do like it. I think that the ICM one's probably going to have a little bit more, maybe a little bit more in the way of surface detail. But this is a good sort of benchmark to start with. You know, a reference point, if you will. This is where your cannons are. I think they had a 20mm cannon, didn't they, in the side of the fuselage. And then here you've got your nacelles for your engines. And that's of course on where the main big 30mm cannon comes out underneath the recess. I'll turn it this way and see the other side. Yeah, it's a nice kit. It's a nice kit. Is there anything I don't like about it? I'm never a fan of Hasegawa's plastic, if I'm honest. It always looks like something from the sort of 70s, 80s, the actual sort of finish of it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not a problem. It's just a style. It has this very glossy plastic, which is very sort of 80s, 90s, let's say. A bit of a throwback in some respects, that you tend not to get these days. And I think I prefer... I don't know what that is. That's the big noise. It's the bin men. The bin men have arrived. Everything happens when I'm filming. Guaranteed, yeah. Yep, there's my bin going. At least it's not the bin that has all the bottles in it, yeah? It's just the regular bin. These are the challenges of filming live on YouTube. They're a bit of a nuisance sometimes. I say that because they're actually about 2 hours early, so they weren't scheduled to be actually doing my bin at that time in the morning, quite frankly. Anyway, not to worry. Enough of the bin men. My domestic problems. So there we go. So in terms of marks out of 10 then, what do we think? This is retailing around about the £26, £27 mark at the moment. Now that's a really cracking kit for that sort of money. It really is. So I'm going to say, I think I'd like to have had a figure in it. And a little bit more clarity around the instructions about just a paragraph or two about the history. So I'm going to say 9.5 out of 10, which I think is fair. I certainly recommend it to you. In terms of a value proposition, that's a cracking kit. Now, I'm sure ICM's kit's going to be probably more 45, 50 pounds-ish, maybe slightly more, don't know. But obviously you're probably going to get a bit more in terms of you know, those things, history, etc. Probably a bit more, you know, super sharp tooling, and maybe perhaps a slightly nicer plastic. But I think fundamentally this still stands up very well. But we'll have a look at them side by side when that comes to pass and we've got that new kit to compare it to. And we'll see how we get on then. So there we go, 9.5 out of 10 from me. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you thought it was interesting, hearing about my glasses and seeing the mosquitoes. Just an update for you. I will be probably starting mosquito production properly in the next few weeks. Certainly I think by start of September. So there'll be more updates in the future about that. What else was I going to say? So I think now we've got the... Oh, that's the other thing I remembered. So the other issue is my other channel, Peter Goes Rogue. We're doing very well with it. It's now up to... I think we're up to about 550 subscribers, something like that. But we do need more. Please, will you help us? Please, if you watch this channel and you haven't subscribed to the other one, go and have a look at it. I'll put your link below. And please subscribe if you haven't, because we really need to get to 1,000 subscribers. Because only when we do that can I really invest a lot of time in it to make it worth doing, really. And there's going to be things that a lot of you will enjoy. They're not model related. There's going to be things to do with aviation. There's going to be possibly things like visits to museums. There's going to be talking about cars and discussing certain types of cars and showing you interesting cars. We're not going to try and become, you know, Top Gear or Hasegawa, but we're just going to do some different things and do them in a different way. But I can't invest time and energy into doing that when we haven't got enough subscribers to justify it. So I need to get to 1,000. So please help us. Please subscribe if you haven't already. That's the one thing. And the other thing I was going to say is on this channel, to give a bit more value to those of you that are really just interested in scale models, I'm not going to do full build videos. I just haven't got the time to do the editing, etc, etc. It's impossible. And I find them a bit dull and boring. I don't watch other people's build videos generally. I always feel that instead of watching somebody else build a bit, yeah, if they're showing you interesting techniques, that's fine, that's great. But when it's just somebody building such and such, you could be building your own kit in the time you're taking to watch that, you know. Yeah, it can be I'm not knocking it, it can be therapeutic and relaxing, but it's not for me. And I don't want to invest any time doing that. However, coming to the point, I am going to show a lot more. I may do 1 or 2 short videos when I do show some detailing work, some of the things where I'm perhaps doing things differently to other people, or just do my own thing and getting nice results. If I think I'm doing something that people might enjoy to see shown, but it won't be a long video. There'll be short clips inserted into like maybe a monthly update video, something like that. But I am going to show you a bit more of my production techniques. You'll have to pay me though. Come on, this are secrets I'm giving away. You can repay me by subscribing to Peter Goes Rogue. Well, that's it for now. Enough from me. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you thought that was entertaining and interesting. Stay tuned, because certainly in September we're going to have a lot more interesting stuff for you, I think, that you're going to enjoy. Just need to get my glasses adjusted. It's great on this side, it feels completely perfect. On this side it sort of moves out slightly and it keeps wobbling about. It's not quite anchored at the back. So I'll have to get the expert to manipulate it and get that sorted, and I can see more of you. Got to get it sorted in time for Telford. Anyway, until next time, thanks very much for joining me. Sorry about the noise in the background there. We seem to have a bit of everything going on. We had there's some works going on, and we've got the bin men and all sorts. It's just one of those days. Thanks anyway. Till next time, take care. Stay well, stay safe, look after yourselves. Until the next video, thanks a lot, and bye for now.